Hello. This is video number 4. This is the video where I'm going to talk to you about my spiritual journey. And I'm actually kind of sick right now while I'm recording it. But, I worked with this coach and she said, look at how beautiful it is outside. It just snowed here. Has not been snowing in the high country in Colorado. It's been rough. But it's so beautiful. There was something that a coach told me that really resonated with me for days like this. Especially when I was doing coaching almost every day. She said, when emotions are high, intelligence is low. And so how I interpreted that is we're more in our body instead of in our mind. Bzzz. And on nights when I would not sleep well and I had a big day the next day, I had something big to present or something like that. That, saying when emotions are high, intelligence is low, there is a flip side. I definitely see how there's a negative to that when we're highly emotional and we're all in our emotions and we're just reacting. But thinking about it from a perspective of being tired or being sick, because when you're sick and you're tired, you tend to be more in your body and less buzzing in your brain. So we're more, in my opinion, more tuned into our soul and less tapped into our ego. And so sometimes I feel there's wisdom and there's beauty that can really come through when you're feeling sick or tired. And so I'm I kind of feel recording that call right now, but I'm also not feeling the total best. But then maybe it's actually the best because I won't be super in my head. Okay, just checking, see how much time I have. So I want to talk to you about my spiritual journey because I want to give you more zoomed out perspectives on what I think is happening right now in the world and how it's actually a good thing. But for me to feel I can talk to you about those things, I have to tell you about my spiritual journey so you don't jump to any conclusions. Because here's the big thing. With religion and with politics, I feel people force us into a box. You have to choose a side. And I just call bullshit on that. You don't have to choose a side because I've always politically found myself in the middle. Always. I kind of agree with that. And I kind of agree with that. And I've I'm a registered independent because I've voted every which way. I'm very much in the middle. And I think the same goes for spirituality and what feels good for you. And you don't need to necessarily choose. So I've always been really interested in spirituality. And those of you who have been with me for a while and you have experienced some of my work and you've jumped into some of my programs, you know that if you worked with me, a lot of my concepts, though we were talking about having a healthy relationship with your body, they were really deep and spiritual. And so once I was called to close, which was definitely a divine call, I did not, that was not some enlightened, oh yes, I'm being called. No, I was knocked over the head by a universal 2x4 and being you gotta close, you're done. And it was hard and it was rough and there was a lot of reconciling with that. But there was also a lot of trust and a lot of faith. And I feel I was raised not religious at all. I think we went to church on Easter and Christmas Eve a few times, and we had one family friend that was really religious, and I'd sometimes go to church, but it was fleeting. And I really had a hard time. I always felt there was something higher, but I really didn't resonate with it's a white man in the sky. I just and I understand it's not, Jesus isn't God, but it's okay, if he's the son of God, then you assume that God's gonna look like Jesus, and so I never resonated with that. But I always felt I always called it the universe, and I always felt I had something there. It wasn't a deep connection by any stretch of the imagination, but when I started my coaching career, really started my coaching career, I started working with a metaphysician. And she asked me at one point, she was do you believe in something higher? And I was oh yeah, I do. And she was oh, okay, tell me more about that. And I was I believe there's something higher. I don't. And so she really started probing this, and she really started helping me find, and she said something that really helped me so much at that time. She said, look, your higher power can look and feel however it feels best for you. It could have a face, it could not have a face. It could be a woman, it could be a man. It could be an animal, it could be a tree, it could be the stars, it could be whatever feels best for you. But like, is there something that you can get like a visual connection to, or like a deeper connection to help you start refining your higher power? And that was like such great permission. And then later on in our sessions, I remember I was super, super stressed out. I was so worried. I was stressed out financially. I was stressed out in every which way you could imagine. I had started my business. I was like $30,000 in debt. Christmas was coming. I was like a mess. And she reminded me, she's like, I want you to remember that there is something bigger than you here to help you and support you and like guide you through these challenging moments. And I just bawled. I cried so hard because I feel like most of my life I've had to just fend for myself and take care of my brother. That was my big thing. And so like to know that there was like something that could help me and something that could support me, like as like a Miss Independent, feeling like I didn't have a lot of adults that I could lean on, that I could rely on, that were like, I didn't have a safe place to land. And she essentially was saying, there is a safe place for you to land. And at that point, my higher power became like this Native American woman. And throughout those years, I like unconsciously did a lot of inner child work, because whenever I'd feel scared or sad, I would imagine myself being embraced by this woman, this Native American woman, and she would hold me like her child. And that helped me so much. And, throughout my coaching career, I continued to have a level of faith and trust with my higher power that really got me through some really hard times. And so obviously I wanted to teach some form of that. And I believe that God, Goddess, Spirit, the universe, whatever you want to call it, speaks to you through your body. And this is how Wildly Alive Weight Loss had a lot of spiritual principles to it. So then when I was, knocked over the head by a universal 2x4 and life said, you're done. I have other plans for you. You think you know what you want. You have that vision board of what you think you want. But I have a bigger vision for you. And so I was like really in this place of like complete surrender. Of like, okay, like I tried. I really did try. In 2022, was it the beginning of 23? I remember being like, I'm going to pick this thing up off the ground. Like I had like did everything my willpower could do. And then by like August, it was like, okay, clearly, like I just had to surrender. I was like, and so I just gave it up, and I was like, okay, like I clearly, like vision boarding is not, like it got me so far, but it's like, so then I just surrendered myself to life. Like, what do you got for me? Okay, clearly you don't want me to do this. I thought that that's what I wanted. I thought this was like my soul's work. It was a really painful experience, and it was a lot of grief. But I was really surrendering. And so at that time, I was really diving into a lot of spiritual stuff. Because I was like, I just felt so lost. And I feel like that's when people like come to God or Goddess, like, is when they feel really, really lost. Like they're dropping to their knees. And I was really starting to dip in and learn about all different things and all different religions. And at that same time, why it was like really being called to church. And so a neighbor just so happened to be a pastor, and they have a little boy who's Wyatt's age, and so Josiah would always come over. So Josiah started inviting him to like youth groups and stuff, and like we were always really open to like Wyatt developing that. And so then it just got to a point where it was like, okay, he started going so much and having a lot of questions that were like, okay, like I want to be a part of this. I want to help him navigate this. I also want to learn for myself. And so then I started really diving into Wyatt it was Christianity, because he was really being called. And I felt like the smartest thing to do is like be next to him while he's learning and like challenge things and question things, because I think that's the most important thing we can do. And so it was just so clear that Wyatt was like, it's like, it brings me to tears, because I definitely think he was called. Like, Goddess was calling him into a relationship, and it was just so amazing. And so it's definitely been a tightrope, like trying to walk this path with him, and like having my own concerns, but like bringing those things up to Wyatt. Like, we've talked a lot about it. And then that's made me want to explore like other religions. And it's not that I necessarily have read like the Quran or anything like that. Like, I haven't gone as far as like reading. I'm not a great reader, if I'll be honest. So, but I definitely dove into different religious beliefs and what they believe, and like trying to open myself up to like understanding and blah, blah, blah. And then I started just falling towards and started listening to near-death experiences, because I just got so confused. And I was like, you know what? You know who probably knows what's happening after we die? Is the people who died and came back. And so then I dove headfirst into near-death experiences. And I started listening to and reading thousands. Like, I was so obsessed. I just was like, whoa, this is so cool. And what I found, like, from all these different near-death experiences, that there was a theme. There was a theme. And the theme was ultimately that, like, we're here to take care of each other. That's what we're here for. We're here to, like, and one of the commandments is, like, love your neighbor like yourself. And, like, we're here to take care of each other, and we're here to be the light and be grateful and, like, see the beauty in this tree, like see the beauty in the snow on this tree. And like, it was really validating a lot of the things that I was starting to teach, which was around living in color and being present and being happy with what you already have, instead of thinking you need to chase and get the next thing. And like, there was some other common themes in there about how like personal responsibility and like even your thoughts have a frequency. And so if you're having negative thoughts about somebody, like, you need to be held responsible. It's not just like doing bad things to other people, it's thinking bad things to other people. And that's like huge. And so I learned something in massage school that I still use to this day and have taught my kids. If you have a bad thought, you say cancel, clear, forgive. And I have a visual where I like take the thought and I like stomp it into the ground and like recycle it. But, like, I cancel, clear, forgive. I did not mean to say that. That was not, like, in the best, that was not my best thought. I forgive myself, and, like, a little, like, practice of forgiveness in that moment when you have a bad thought, because that's, like, that really hit me with the near-death experiences. And also, like, yeah, when we die, it's amazing. Like, the near-death experiencers, like, almost all of them did not want to come back to being a human, which is, like, because being a human is hard. It is hard. We experience so many intense emotions here. It's such an intense experience. It's not easy. And like, when we lose loved ones, they get to go up and like, they're like, even moms with children was like, the kids will be fine. Like, that's how they felt when they got there. They were like, because it's like a blip. They're like, oh, I'll see them tomorrow. Essentially, it's like, 20 years, but they're like, oh, I'll see my kids tomorrow. They'll be fine. Like, so many people like go up there and are like, yeah, let's go. This is so great. I feel so expansive. Like, they feel like they just like expand, and they're just like, yeah, welcomed in this like light of love. And again, other people had different names for this love. Some people called it God. Some people called it goddess. Some people said it was a male. Some people was a female. Some people just said it was an energy. Some people said it was Jesus. Like, that's the thing, is like, when this metaphysician gave me permission to like own it however I wanted, like, I also feel like that's what happens, is like, whatever you feel deeply connected to, you will feel deeply connected to, that source of love. Ultimately, it's a source of light and love. And so yeah, like, I have landed in a place where I like have my spiritual basket, and I put things in that feel good for me. And sometimes I get those from the Bible, and sometimes I get those from church when I go to church with Wyatt and Zach. But also, there are things that I'm like, I have my spiritual basket, and they just said something that doesn't resonate with me. Instead of me judging that, which is work, I will tell you, it is work. But I just am like, not for me. Like, I'm not putting that in my spiritual basket, because that's not what I believe. Or like, when I have conversations with like friends who are more religious, I'm like, cool, like, you can believe that and I can believe this, and we can still coexist. Like, there's no right or wrong or good or bad. We're all a different person. We all have, we all have fingerprints that are unique to us. Like, we all can have our own spiritual feeling with that. And so my hope for you is that if you have a very strong spiritual perspective, that you have tried to move the ego aside and say, well, my way is the best way. And said, okay, well, this is Nicole's way, and that's what feels good for her. And she's helping other people find their way. And yeah, I have like worked with coaches and teachers, spiritual teachers. This one spiritual teacher who I love so much, he says he feels like he came in the world to like clear the word of God, like the word God, because it's so like polarizing now and like triggering for people. And it was triggering for me. I never used that word. And like, he's really helped me, which also what I love about him is like, he's actually a transgender person, and he never uses God in like a gender. He never uses he or she. And I love that, because I'm like, that's where people get all caught up, and I was getting caught up too. It's like, this has to be a man. But it doesn't have to be a man. Like, now my God is definitely just like an energy, a source of love and light. And, it changed and it molded, and like, I don't see anything wrong with that. And, like spiritual people, intuitive people, psychics, like, I understand that there's a dark side to that, and Christianity thinks all that is demonic, but I'm like, no, I don't believe that. Like, I think people have spiritual gifts. Do I think darkness can come in anywhere, New Age or religion? Yes. Absolutely. Because you're like opening up the veil over and over again. Like, dark stuff is going to come through. That's why there's dark stuff in religion, lots of dark stuff in religion. And then as I started learning about New Age, which I didn't even realize like I was like New Age, I did a ceremonial arts program. I guess you could technically call it New Age. No, but ceremony has been around for centuries. So like, no. But like, I did a full year of ceremonial arts. It was amazing. It was really about connecting with like nature and feeling God through nature, and learning ceremony. And so anyway, yeah, it's been amazing, and it's been hard, and it's been challenging, and I want to fight my side sometimes. I'm like, no, that's not what this is about. Like, everyone's allowed to have their own spiritual basket, and they can believe what they believe, and that's what works for them. And if it doesn't work for them, you trust that like this universal energy will like help them find the book or the mentor or whatever, if there is like some darker energy kind of coming in, because there's darkness everywhere, right? Like, the evil, I don't know, everybody has different, again, labels. Evil, demons, devil, reptilian, like, everybody has something different. Dark, some sort of dark energy does, like, we live on a planet of polarity, okay? So there's yin and yang, light and dark, good and bad. And so the darkness will always exist. It's just a matter of you being able to decipher. I ask my kids all the time, are you being in the light? Be the light. Are you being the light right now? And the light is that expansive love, joy, and if you feel like you're being in the dark, like, what can we help you to bring the light? Like, do we need to say a little prayer? Do you need to go on a walk and connect with the trees? Like, things like that. So that's my belief. I'm not here to push anything on anyone. I'm just hoping that this helps you and gives you the permission that I got from that metaphysician of like, you can do whatever feels best for you. And there is something bigger that is here to help you and support you, and that is that source of love. When you feel like you can't find the love in yourself, you feel like the love isn't around you, like, you can just take a breath and breathe and feel your feet on the floor. Excuse me. And you can feel the light, like the sun beaming on the top of your head. This is a visualization I did. Feel the sun, like as if the sun is beaming on the top of your head. And feel that warmth move down your temples, down your nose, down your mouth, down your throat and your shoulders. Feel that warm golden light start to overtake your body, down your shoulders, down your arms and your chest, down your belly, down your hips, down your legs, down your knees, down your calves. and down through the bottoms of your feet, and making its way down through the bottoms of your feet into the earth. And just saying, I receive. I receive. I am open to receiving. I am open to receiving. I am worthy of this love. I can feel this love. I can let in this love. It's always available to me. Whenever I feel sad, whenever I feel distraught, whenever I feel hopeless. Tapping into that love. We all have the ability to do that. It doesn't need to look a certain way. It doesn't need to be in a box. It doesn't need to be in a box. Okay? It can just be in your spiritual basket. And you can take things out of your spiritual basket and you put things back in. That's what I like about the basket, not the box. We don't need to box ourselves in. So, I hope that this landed for you. I hope this helped. That's my prayer, that this helps open you up to that higher power or deepen that relationship with your higher power. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a future video. So, anyway, all right. Until next time.